Right now, somewhere on this planet, someone is walking into a room they have never been in before, and their brain is screaming that they have stood in that exact spot before. Same light, same conversation, same feeling in their chest, and they have no idea why. You have felt this. Everyone has felt this. And here is the strange part. The moment you try to explain it to someone else, you sound a little insane. I swear this has happened before. But it hasn't. Not really. So what is your brain actually doing to you? This feeling has a name you already know. Déjà vu. French for already seen. But the name is the easy part. The reason it happens is where things get weird because for most of human history, nobody had a real answer. People blamed spirits. People blamed past lives. Some cultures thought it meant your soul had briefly slipped out of your body and come back a second too late. Even Sigmund Freud had a theory, and his was basically that déjà vu was a repressed memory clawing its way back to the surface. Turns out he was wrong, but at least he was trying. The real answer didn't start showing up until scientists could actually look inside a working brain. And once they could, déjà vu stopped being a mystery and started being a filing error. Here's where we need to start. Your brain is not a camera. It does not record your life and play it back later like a video file. It builds memories the way you'd build something out of spare parts. A smell here, a sound there, a shape of a room, a tone of voice. And then it glues all those pieces together into something that feels like one solid memory. Most of the time, that gluing process works fine. But every so often, one piece of a brand new experience, just one piece, matches a piece from something you've experienced before. Maybe the layout of a kitchen, maybe the angle of the light through a window, maybe just the rhythm of a stranger's laugh. Your brain catches that single matching piece and goes, "Wait, I know this." And here's the problem. It says that before it's checked the rest of the evidence. This idea has an actual name in psychology. It's called the Gestalt familiarity hypothesis, and one of the researchers who has spent years testing it is Anne Cleary, a cognitive psychologist at Colorado State University. Cleary ran a series of experiments where she showed people virtual reality scenes, things like gardens and rooms, that were built using the exact same spatial layout as scenes they'd seen earlier, just with different objects in them. Different flowers, different furniture, same underlying map. And people reported déjà vu constantly, even though they couldn't say why the scene felt familiar. Their brain recognized the layout. Their conscious mind never got the memo. So that's piece one. Déjà vu might just be your brain matching the shape of a moment without matching the content, but that's not the whole story, because déjà vu doesn't feel like a normal case of, "Oh, this reminds me of something." It feels stronger than that. It comes with this eerie certainty, almost like your brain is convinced you've lived this exact second before, word for word. That intensity needed its own explanation, and this is where things get genuinely strange. In the 1950s, a neurosurgeon named Wilder Penfield was operating on patients with severe epilepsy. To figure out exactly where the seizures were starting, he did something that sounds almost like science fiction. While patients were awake on the operating table, he touched a mild electrical probe to different parts of their brain, specifically the temporal lobe, and asked them what they experienced. Some patients smelled burning toast, some heard music that wasn't playing, and some, when he stimulated a very specific spot, said the exact same thing. "This has happened before. I've done this before. I know what happens next." Penfield had basically triggered déjà vu on demand just by touching electricity to a piece of brain tissue. That told scientists something huge. Déjà vu isn't some mystical event. It's an electrical hiccup in a very specific location, the temporal lobe, which just so happens to be the part of your brain heavily involved in memory and recognition. This is also why déjà vu shows up so much more often in people with temporal lobe epilepsy. For some epilepsy patients, déjà vu isn't a rare, spine-tingling moment. It's a warning sign, a kind of aura that tells them a seizure is about to start, because the misfire that causes déjà vu and the misfire that causes a seizure are happening in the same neighborhood of the brain. Now here's a question you're probably already asking. If déjà vu is connected to seizures in some people, does that mean healthy people are having tiny, harmless electrical glitches too? That's exactly what a lot of researchers think, and one of the people who's dug deepest into this is Akira O'Connor, a psychologist at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. O'Connor has used brain imaging to study déjà vu in people with completely normal, healthy brains, not epilepsy patients. His theory is that déjà vu might actually be your brain's memory checking system working correctly, not incorrectly. Think about it like this. Somewhere in your brain, there's a kind of quality control department for memory. Its job is to check whether a new experience actually matches something in your memory bank or not. According to O'Connor's research, when your brain flags a false memory conflict, something feels familiar but shouldn't, the frontal regions of your brain step in and basically override it. They send out a signal that says, hang on, this can't be right, we've never actually experienced this before. And that override signal is what you feel as déjà vu. Under this theory, déjà vu isn't your memory malfunctioning, it's your memory system catching its own mistake in real time, which honestly is kind of impressive if you think about it. Your brain isn't broken, it's fact-checking itself. There's also a slightly different theory worth knowing, sometimes called dual processing, associated with researchers like Joseph Spatt. The idea here is that your brain has two separate systems running at once when you experience something. One system is responsible for the feeling of familiarity. The other is responsible for actually retrieving the memory itself. Normally, these two systems fire together in sync. You feel familiar with something at the exact moment you can also recall where that familiarity comes from. But every so often, these two systems get slightly out of sync. The familiarity signal fires a split second before the retrieval signal, or without it firing at all. So you get the feeling of recognition with none of the actual memory attached to it. That mismatch, a feeling with no source, is what your brain interprets as déjà vu. So which theory is correct? Honestly, probably a mix of all of them, depending on the person and the moment. Your brain might be matching spatial layouts like Cleary found. It might be an electrical hiccup in the temporal lobe like Penfield discovered. It might be your memory system catching and correcting itself like O'Connor's research suggests. Or it might be two memory systems firing a half second out of sync. Different roads, same strange destination. Here's something else worth knowing. Déjà vu isn't evenly distributed across your life. It happens the most between the ages of 15 and 25, and it gets rarer the older you get. That timing isn't random either. Your brain's memory systems are still developing and fine-tuning themselves heavily during your teens and 20s. More fine-tuning means more chances for a small glitch to slip through. It also happens more when you're tired or stressed, which makes sense because both of those states make your brain more likely to misfire on small details. And travel triggers it constantly, which makes total sense once you know the Gestalt theory. New cities are full of scenes your brain has never technically seen, but that share a layout with somewhere you have been. A cafe on a corner, a hallway with a window at the end, a staircase curving the same way as one from your childhood home. Your brain isn't recognizing the place, it's recognizing the shape of the place. So the next time it happens to you, standing in a kitchen you've never set foot in, feeling absolutely certain you've had this exact conversation before, you'll know what's actually going on behind the scenes. It's not a past life. It's not a glitch in the simulation. It's not your soul catching up to your body. It's a filing system built from millions of years of evolution, occasionally grabbing the wrong folder for half a second, and your brain, quietly and instantly, correcting itself before you even notice. That feeling everyone has, standing somewhere new and swearing they've stood there before, isn't your brain malfunctioning. It's your brain proving in real time that it's paying closer attention than you ever gave it credit for. If this messed with your head a little, hit subscribe, because your brain has a lot more secrets like this one.